Hey guys, we got about 1 more minute and then we're going to get started. So excited to see you all. Thanks for joining me. Can everyone hear my voice who's here right now? Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Okay, Sana. Hey, can you go back out and come in again? Sometimes that happens. All right. We'll wait for Sana to hopefully get back soon. Oh, she came back. Hey, can you hear us now? Maybe he'll let you join. Sorry, I always jump the gun. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on a Sunday night. I thought I'd try to offer this on the weekend because I know some people have crazy sports schedules. So I appreciate you guys taking time out of your weekend to hang out with me. And this is a holiday weekend, so it's a real sacrifice. Oh, sweet. Okay, great. Thanks so much. Is it Sana? Am I saying that correctly? Sana. There are two A's there, so.
It's Sinai.
Sine. Awesome. That's a beautiful name. I love it. And so we have Kaylin. Let me know if it's Callan, Carly, Christopher, and Riley. You guys are awesome. Hey, Riley, can we put your last name in?
I would, but I don't know how to. Do you know how to do that?
Yeah, I can change it for you. What is it?
It's Spencer.
Awesome. Thanks, Riley. I have two Rileys this semester, so I was like, I want to make sure I know which one I'm talking to. Okay, sweet. We are going to get started. Are you guys feeling good today? Got a little bit of a smaller group. I'm excited about that. Get to hang out with you a little bit more. All right, so today we are going to talk about the following things. This chapter is chapter 2, and maybe you've started it, maybe you haven't started it, but it's good to kind of get a good overview before you start it. We're going to talk about cosas en la clase. Does anybody know what cosas en la clase means, or you have any ideas about what it could mean?
Things in the class.
Yeah, things in the class, that's right. So cosas are things, and las means the things in the class. And then we have materias, and materias are the things that you go to at your school. You have different subjects that you go to, right, our classes. Los números 32 hasta 100. So we have these numbers, 32 hasta 100. We're going to be learning about those. We're going to talk about la hora, números ordinales, and then tener, hay artículos definidos e indefinidos. And we're going to talk about verbos regulares hoy. Preposiciones de lugar and el verbo estar. We can't talk about all of those a lot because there's a lot of things, but we're going to get started with cosas de la clase. And inside of this, I'm going to kind of embed a little bit of the articles. So right here we have something. Can everybody type in the chat, or say, maybe somebody turn your mic on and tell me what you think this is in Spanish? Anybody have a clue? Or maybe even just what you think it is in English. All right, somebody said a mesa. That's right, it's a mesa. Okay, so if we wanted to say a mesa in Spanish, we would say, or if we wanted to answer the question, ¿qué es esto? We would say una mesa. And the reason why we say una mesa is because the word mesa is a feminine word, even though a table can't be feminine or masculine. When Spanish was created from Latin, it held on to this thing called gender. And we have gender with all words in Spanish. All nouns have a gender, not verbs. Verbs are genderless, but nouns like people, places, things, and even ideas, they have a gender. So this is a table. It's a feminine word, obviously not a feminine table, but instead of saying un mesa, we say una mesa. And if we wanted to talk about what color this is, we would say es una mesa blanca y azul. Does anybody know what the word blanca means?
White.
Yeah, it means white. So if we have a mesa that's blanca, we had to change that O on the end of blanco. We changed it to an A because that word blanca is describing the mesa, which is feminine. Es una mesa blanca y azul. Azul is a little bit of a different animal because it doesn't end in an O or an A. So we just leave it singular, azul, for one thing. But if we wanted to say there are some, or they are some tables that are blue and, I'm sorry, white and blue, we would say son unas mesas blancas y azules. I'm typing that in the chat. So son unas mesas blancas y azules. First, we have to change the verb to son to say they are. We have to say unas instead of una to make it plural. We have to say mesas instead of mesa. We add an S to blancas, and we also add an ES to azules because it's a little bit of a different one, right? Remember, if it's a different letter, sometimes we're going to add ES to the end to make that plural. So basically, every part of our sentence is plural because everything is referring back to our multiple tables if we had those on the screen right now. Does that feel good for everybody? So this right here usually is white in most classrooms now. ¿Qué es esto? What is this? It's a pizarra. And that's a whiteboard, right? Or a blackboard in this case. Una pizarra. And so we have a pizarra here, and it's a feminine word. So just like mesa, una pizarra is feminine. So to make it plural, we would say unas pizarras if we were making it plural. Unas pizarras. And if we wanted to say negras, or we'd say blancos or blancas because it's feminine there. Now we have a masculine thing. This is called a borrador. Es un borrador negro. We have un because it's singular. Then we put borrador, and then we put the color after it. That's kind of weird, right? We would normally say it's a black eraser in English. But in Spanish, we put black after the noun because it's an adjective of quality. Quality means we're describing what it's like. If it were an adjective of quantity, you can add this to your notes. Quality goes after and quantity goes before. So if we would say there are many black erasers, we could say son muchos, or actually we would use the verb I muchos borradores negros, and muchos would replace the word un to say many erasers that are black, essentially, instead of saying many black erasers. So something that's just a little bit different between Spanish and English. Does anybody know what this is if you've looked at the vocabulary?
Mochila.
Mochila. It's a mochila. If you're in Costa Rica, they call this a salbeque. Salbeque. So just a fun Costa Rican word, but this is a mochila, and that's a feminine word. And so if we said this is a mochila, we would say azul y blanca. I chose those colors for a lot of these pictures. It's very interesting. All right. So this is a word that is in a lot of countries, right? Because everybody uses a pen. So guess what? We have 21 Spanish-speaking countries, so there are a lot of names for this. If I wanted to say they are, yeah, pluma. Great job. So you can say pluma, or you can say bolígrafo. That's very popular in Spain. Or you can also say lapicero. Lapis is pencil, right? Lapicero is also the word for pen. So you can say any one of those three words for this one. And this is a lapis. So if we say, I forgot, I think I erased that one just because I wanted to move pretty quickly here. So if we look at this, el libro, los libros, la silla, las sillas, and those are the definite articles: the pencil, the books, the chair, the whiteboard, the eraser. Indefinite means some or a book. If I said, hand me the book, then I'm talking about a specific book. That's a definite article. If I say, hand me a book, that's an indefinite article. That's un, una, or unos, unas for some. So if I say, hand me some books, it doesn't really matter which books I'm talking about because I didn't say the books. I said some books, right? Or some chairs, or a chair. Does that make sense to everybody? Feeling good? These are good ones to write in your notes. El, la, los, and las all mean the. And un, una, unos, unas, those mean some. We're gonna have a little bit of participation right here. I'm gonna stop the share so I can, well, I should have just clicked out of my thing. Let's try that again. And then I did it again because I forgot to share my screen. Okay. I'm gonna get out of this presentation. Okay. So I pulled up one of my favorite websites is studyspanish.com, and they have a lot of really great lessons. If you go to studyspanish.com and click on grammar, you can find these, and they give you a free basic quiz. So let's take what we learned and let's do this together. If you can type into the chat, I'll pull my chat box back up, the answer to this first one. If we want to say the books, which one do you think this one is for the books? Even if somebody else types it before you, you get the practice of typing it in. So got a lot of los libros going on here, and you're right. The books are los libros. Great work. How about an airplane? Un avión, una avión, unos aviones, or unas muchachas? We got a una avión coming. It's hard. Okay, I'm gonna go with the first answer, una avión. We're gonna check our answers, all right? Some pencils, what do you guys think? Un lápiz, una actriz, unos lápices, unas actrices. Some pencils, what do you guys think? We got one choice for unos lápices. Anybody else got a guess? Unos lápices too. Great job. All right. We don't know the answers yet because I'm going to show you how it works. The female professor. The female professor. What do you guys think? Got a couple votes for la profesora. Okay. A decision. A decision. La decisión. Unas decisiones. Un idioma or una decisión. What do you guys think? I know, no worries. We're typing fast. La decisión. Okay. We have a vote for la decisión. Any other votes? We'll take the first one, so we'll go with that. But please type it in because you get good practice spelling. Oh, el gato. Okay. El gato. Una decisión. Somebody has it. Okay, so when we get back to this one, Kaylin, we can check and see how you did on that one. A cat. Somebody said el gato. All right. The voice. What do we have here? The voice. Una voz. Okay. Some students. What do you guys think? And there's Christopher had a vote for la voz. I see that too. Some students, male and female. What do you guys think? Low stakes here. Oh, that's a tough one. So I don't know. Okay. I was like, what? It's hard because you put O and A. All right, great job. True and false. There are only two definite articles, el and la. What do you guys think? False. Okay, we got a false. We'll put that. If you thought true, that's okay. Might be true. There are four definite articles, el, la, los, or las. True or false? Got some trues for this one. There are only two indefinite articles, true or false? True, okay. There are four indefinite articles, un, una, unos, unas. Is that a true? True, okay. Un means both a and one when used before a masculine noun. You guys saying true? Okay, true. When referring to a specific noun, use the indefinite articles. Did Kaylin say true to this one? When referring to a specific noun, use the indefinite. Okay, true. Una means both a and one when used before a feminine noun. False. Okay, I got a false. You choose the form of the article by whether or not the noun it introduces is masculine or feminine, singular or plural. You choose the form of the article by whether or not the noun it introduces is masculine or feminine, singular or plural. True, we got a true. True, might be. Low stakes here, don't worry. Some chairs, what do you guys think? Some chairs. Unos, unas, los, or las? Unos, gotta vote. A table. A table. La. Oh, sorry, I didn't give you choices. We have la. Okay. A cat. Okay. Some more. La gata. Okay. Somebody said L. All right. Una. Okay. We got L and we got una. I see those. Some airplanes. Unos. We have an unos vote and a los vote. Okay. I see those. Great job. So we're going to submit our answers. The reason why I really like this basic quiz is because it tells us, hey, you got 10 right, you got 10 wrong. And we wanted to get some wrong because it's learning. You can't be perfect all the time, right? You got to have some choices here. All right, guess what? This is the books, right? And you guys got that one right. This is an airplane. Which one do you think we should choose? It says hint, avión is a masculine word. Which one should we choose now? You say unos. Well, we could choose that one, but I'm going to get it right this time. So we can't choose that one. But why can't we choose that one? Why would we choose un? Why would we choose un? Because it's just one. That's right. It's just an airplane, right? Because it's, if we put unos, that would have to make it plural. So great guess. I love it. You guys are awesome. Some pencils, you guys got that right. Great job. La profesora, great job. A decision. So, you know, some of you thought la decisión, others of you may have thought una decisión, and that is the answer because is una, right? Not just la. La means the decision, right? All right, number 6, a male cat. So what's the key word here that we need to look at? Why is it not, well, male is el gato, masculine is el gato. That's great though. I like the way you're thinking. Yeah, that's the answer. But what word in the thing gives it away that we needed to pick un gato? What word in the question? Sorry. Not just male, but it's a good guess. There's one little word. Yeah, a. That's what un means, a cat. So un gato, we have to choose that one because it's a and not just the. This one right here, the word for voice or voice is la voz. That's our hint. It really doesn't help us out because we want to say the voice. What word in the question tells us what we need to choose? The. Which one is it? Great job. Which one is it? Is it la voz, la conversación, or las conversaciones? Yep, la voz. Great job. And here we have unos estudiantes, some students. Great job. True or false, el and la. Great job. There are only 2 definite articles, el and la. It's false because there are 4. Great job. There are 4, and we got that one, the right one. There are only 2 indefinite articles. Nope, there are more than 2, right? Because you guys also said this is true. So one of those had to be wrong, and I bet you guys knew that. When referring to a specific noun, use the indefinite article. So indefinite by definition, right? Indefinite, we're not sure which one. So that could be any, like it's not just a specific book, it's any book. Hand me a book. So that's why it's going to be false. So when we're referring to a specific one, we're going to use definite articles, and the definite article in English, there's only one. The, but in Spanish there are 4, el, la, los, or las, depending on the masculine or masculinity, femininity, or whether it's plural or singular. Una means both a and one when used before a feminine noun. We said false, but it's true. just like it was true when we said it before masculine down up here in number 8. So here, if we say unos sillas, sillas ends in an AS, so that's a pretty good indicator that this might be unas here. You guys did a great job choosing some, so that was great. A table, what's that gonna be? A table. I think this is the one I forgot to give you choices on. I like the way you're thinking. It is very close to the answer, but it is not quite there yet. What does mesa end in? Yeah, they're not really trying to trick you on this one, right? And then a cat, you guys said la gata, which is the cat, but you want to say a cat. Yep, una, that's right, because it's a gata. Great job. So let's submit our answers now and see what we got. And we made a 100. This is a really great website to kind of review those things that you're learning in the class. And it has, guess what, regular verbs, which we're going to be going over very next in our lesson. Okay. So, well, maybe not very next. We're going to go over time really fast. I have to kind of go quickly through this because I want to make sure I get to verbs. But time, there are some tips to help you that I have kind of scattered throughout here. But if you want to ask about time, you say, ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? You can write a K or a S in English. If you just write that, it means what time is it or what hour is it? ¿Qué tiempo hace means what's the weather like? And tiempo looks a lot like time, so people always think that maybe means what time is it, but this is the one. ¿Qué hora es? And we're going to say es la una. When you have anything that's 1 o'clock, you're going to put es la una. And then you're going to put the numbers. If it's 1 to 159, you're going to put es la because it's 1 o'clock. It's not plural. So that's really important. I think I got to click here. Oh. All hours of the day are feminine in Spanish. So the time is feminine. It's a good thing to remember for later. That's why we said la una and not el uno. Es la una. ¿Qué hora es? Son las dos. So if it's anything after 1 o'clock to 1:59, we're going to put son and then las rather than es la, because we're going to say they are 2 o'clock, or it is. In English we would translate that to it is 2 o'clock. It doesn't directly translate, so we just have to know that that's what we mean. Son las dos. It is 2, and we make that las plural. So remember, telling time tip number 1, if it's 1 to 1:59, we're using es la. If it's another time, we're using son las. So how would you guys say this time right here? Would you say es las tres or son las tres? Es las tres or son las tres? We would say son las because it's 3 o'clock. Great job. ¿Qué hora es? Son las tres. Son las tres. All right. So after 1, use son las plus the hour. That's our little tip here. ¿Qué hora es? So here we have es la 1:10. So you can look at the clock or you can read and tell me what time is it here. Es la 1:10. What time is this clock showing, or what time does this sentence say? It's 1:10. Yep. What do you notice when we want to add minutes? What thing do we add when we want to add minutes? E. Yep. So when you have the little dot, think E. So es la 1:10. Right? It's 1 and 10, essentially. All right, so telling time tip number 2, to add minutes after the hour, you use the word y, which a lot of people, it's funny when people are just learning Spanish, I get a lot of people who are like reading that and they're like, son las, or es la 1:10. So because it's Y, right? But you say that word y and it means and. Great job. All right, so now we're gonna learn a few words that are kind of time sensitive words, right? Son las 3:15, that means it's 3:15, right? It's 3:15. But we also have this word in Spanish called cuarto. Cuarto is also the word cuatro. So cuatro means 4 and cuarto means 15. So cuarto means quarter, sorry. If you have a room at your house, it's called a cuarto too sometimes. In some countries, cuarto means like your quarters. That's an old word for room. So we have cuarto, and cuarto means quarter, and quince and cuarto are interchangeable. You can say either one of those. And son las 4:30. So we have these two words, 30 for 30, right? And then we also have media for half. So it's 4:30 or it's 4:30, essentially is what we can say. Son las 4:30. 4:30, 4:30. Medio is an adjective that means half. It is used in the feminine singular when telling time, since it modifies the unexpressed hour, or unexpressed noun, hora. So we change that one here, but we don't change cuarto, okay? So they're complicated, but true. Just like languages. Languages are fun, but complicated. Son las 5:40. It's 5:40, right? We can say that. Or have you guys ever said it's 20 till 6? 20 till 6? Essentially, we do that in Spanish too, but we say it's 6 minus 20. Menos means minus. If you like math and you like words that are math, you can say, 6 menos 2 es 4. So menos means subtracting, essentially. Time that it is coming up to, menos, and then the number that we want. So 6 menos 20 would be 20 till 6, or 6 menos 10, 10 till 6. So when you see menos with time, think the word till in English. All right, so this is a good one. En punto. En punto means on the dot. Ooh, and that's all it was on. En punto. Son las 9 menos 5. It's 9 minus 5. Son las 8:55. This can be the same phrase. 9 minus 5 is the same as son las 8:55. It's 8:55 or it's 5 till 9. So this is our, I should have changed the time or the tip. This is the tip number 3. I just added these in because I was like, I think it's good to have a little bit of a reminder. Cuarto, be careful not to spell cuatro. Cuatro means 4, and cuarto, the only difference is the T and the R are split up. So cuarto means a quarter. Be careful not to spell cuatro. Media means half. En punto means on the dot, and menos means minus. It works in English. All right, son las 12. It's 12 o'clock, or you can say es medianoche. It's 12 o'clock, or just es medianoche, it's midnight. So media means half, right? And then medianoche, midnight. You may also hear son las 12 de la noche. You can also say either one of those phrases. Es mediodía. You can say son las 12 if you want to refer to exactly which one it is. Mediodía. Medianoche is feminine because noche is feminine, but mediodía is masculine because día, even though it ends in an A, it's a masculine word. Es mediodía. Somebody might say son las 12 del día. Okay, thank you. Es medianoche. 12 midnight is medianoche. Es la 1:25 de la mañana. In the morning rather than en mañana. So you don't say en la mañana, you say de la mañana, in the morning. Or if it's super early in the morning, like if this is 1:25 in the morning, we would say de la madrugada. That means in the super early morning, madrugada. So the wee hours of the morning. Son las 3 de la mañana. Madrugada. Son las 5 de la mañana. Because it's a.m., we're going to say de la mañana. We're not going to use the word a.m. Son las 6 de la mañana. Son las 11:30 de la mañana. PM is going to be es mediodía, 12 noon, or de la tarde. De la mañana in the morning, de la tarde in the afternoon. And we have PM super later than that. Tarde is afternoon, and tarde could still be the evening, depending on where we are in the time and where you are, in which country. De la noche is usually the feel of 7 o'clock is a good dividing line. De la noche means in the evening or after the sun goes down. If you're in Spain, the sun doesn't go down until 10 o'clock though, so you know, relative. De la noche, de la mañana, de la tarde. All right, so we have some practice, but and I really want to make sure we go through the next part. So you can go back to Word or to studyspanish.com and they will teach you how to do those. So I want to make sure we get to regular verbs. And regular verbs, we may have talked about them a little bit in Unit 1, but there are 3 types of regular verbs. So everybody write these down. AR verbs, ER verbs, and IR verbs. So AR verbs, ER, and IR. These verbs follow a pattern, a very distinct pattern that we're going to go over in just a minute. But an example of an AR verb here is hablar. An example of an ER verb is comer. An example of an IR verb that's regular is vivir. These verbs are called infinitives, and you can write down the phrase to infinitive and beyond, to infinity and beyond, right? Infinitive means that the word to is in front of it. This is an infinitive verb in English. If I say to dance, that is an infinitive verb. Can everybody write down any other infinitive verb that you have? You basically just take any verb and add the word to in front of it. To run, to study, to listen, right? Great job. You're back. Good job. To jump. That's right. You're back at a really good time. So we're talking about infinitive verbs. Well, in Spanish, what thing on the end of the verb do you think would mean to? What part of hablar means to? Because part of it does mean to. What part of comer means to, and what part of vivir means to? The AR, or the ER, or the IR. All of those things, they mean to. So that's the part that we're going to change when we want to change the to part. Okay, so that's a really good thing to know. You guys went over these in Unit 1, the subject pronouns. So we have these subject pronouns, and they are here. Yo is I, tú is you, él, ella, usted. They're in the third person, even though usted is kind of a second person thing, but they conjugate or change the same. Nosotros is we, vosotros is y'all, ellos, ellas, ustedes is you all. All right, so if we had time, we could go over those. But if we're talking about the yo form and you're changing it, instead of saying hablar, you're going to say hablo. Or instead of saying comer, you're going to say como. Or instead of saying vivir, you're going to say vivo. So hablo means I speak instead of to speak. Comer means to eat. So como means I eat. Vivir means to live. So vivo means I live. All right, so I want you to think about the next one that we have. I'm not going to show it yet, but the ending for if I want to say you talk for the AR is going to be AS. So can you type in the chat what I would change hablo to if I want to say you talk, if the ending is going to be AS? Hablo means I talk, yep. But if I want to say you talk, I'm not going to put it up yet, but the to form, what am I going to change? Yeah, I'm going to change that O to an AS. Let's check it out. And you guys got it. Hablas, right? So here, if I want to make an AR verb, I'm going to change it to hablas. If it's an ER verb, I'm going to change it to ES, comes, ES, vives. That's why it's important to learn those subject pronouns, because what does to mean? Does anybody remember what to means? No, don't be sorry. Mistakes are good. I love it. To means you. So what does comes mean? Yeah, you eat. Great job, you eat. And vivir means to live. So what does vives mean? You live. If I wanted to ask a question, what question, this one word can ask a 3-word question in English? This one question, vives. What question does that translate into in English? Vives. Not where, but it's close, just the last part. Do you live? If we wanted to add where, we would put donde. That's right. Vives, do you live? And comes would mean what? If I put it in a question. That's great. I love the way you're talking and thinking about. What does comes mean? It looks like comes, right? Yeah, but what question does it mean? Not have you, but do you? Yep, do you? Do you is understood in Spanish, so we don't put that, and we don't try to translate it. That's why it makes me laugh when people, when you're learning Spanish, some people try to translate every single word, you know, and so in Spanish, comes means do you eat? Comes pizza? Do you eat pizza? Sí or no, right? And so what about this other word, hablas? Does anybody know what hablas means? Hablas. Hablas español? Yep, speak. So if we put that in a question and we put hablas in a question, what would that mean? Do you speak? So if I wanted to say, do you speak Spanish? I can write my own sentence or my own question. Hablas español. Great job, Christopher. That's right. I was just typing that. Perfect. All right, so moving on to he. The great thing about he, and if we click forward to she and usted, right? He and she and usted, they all have the same endings. So if I wanted to say Christopher speaks Spanish, what would I say? Christopher blank español. What would I fill in that blank with? I can't say hablo because that means I can't say hablas, that means you. What do I have to say here on this screen for he? Habla. So when something ends in an A, right? Habla, or something ends in an E, or for the IR, it ends in an E as well. That means he or she does it, right? So if I wanted to say Riley come pizza, then I can say that. In Costa Rica, they say pizza. It's kind of fun. In Mexico, you'll probably hear pizza. But Riley come pizza. So Riley is eating pizza. And it doesn't matter if you're talking about a boy or a girl. That's why I talked about verbs. They don't have gender. That like él and ella and usted, they all have the same ending. So if I wanted to say the Pope, if I'm talking to the Pope, I'm saying you vive, you live in Roma. Usted vive en Roma. I'm talking to the Pope and I'm like, yeah, you live in Rome. I'm probably not gonna ever talk to the Pope, but if I have some respect for somebody, right, I'm gonna use the usted form. Usted means you. And so that's gonna help us know who we're talking about, right, with this one, because it's kind of hard because this one can mean 3 different things. All right. Yep, usted. UD is a abbreviation for usted. That's right. Okay. Nosotros. Does anybody remember what nosotros means? Close. I like the way you're thinking. It doesn't mean us. Yeah, but we. Us go to the movies. We go to the movies, right? Yeah, and you can replace it in a word, a subject pronoun. You can replace it as a subject, and then you'll figure out which one it is. But I love the way you're thinking. It is us, right? Referring to us, but it's we. So if I wanted to say, we eat apples, how can I put that sentence together? We eat apples. Apples are manzanas, if you don't know the word for apples, manzanas. I like the way you're thinking, so not Coleman, but use the one that's on our screen right now. It's really close. Christopher put it in there for you. And I can use the word nosotros, or I cannot use it. That's right. nosotros comemos manzanas, or I can just say comemos manzanas, because what does that emos on the end of the word tell us? What does the EMOS tell us? It tells us it's in which form? It tells us it's in the we form, right? The nosotros form. So that hemos equals nosotros form, and it also equals hemos equals present tense. Because we haven't talked about we ate, right? We're talking about present tense, we eat. That hemos tells us two things. So that's why we don't need nosotros. Can we put nosotros? Of course we can, but we don't have to. Vosotros is only used in Spain, but here are the endings. If I wanted to say you all eat, I would say coméis. Let's think of a fun one. El pescado. You all eat fish. Comes el pescado. Coméis el pescado. If you read the Bible in Spain, there are a lot of vosotros forms in there. It's kind of fun to read. But vosotros is basically just like ustedes. It means y'all. It's the informal form of ustedes, only used in Spain. Everybody else uses ustedes for that one. All right, and ellos and ellas, Sine basically had this for us. She said comen, and if you say comen, that means they eat. So what does hablan mean? Hablan. If comen means they eat, yeah, they speak. Great job. So if I wanted to say they live, if we were talking about everybody, and I was talking about everybody in this class, I would say they live in Carolina del Norte. How would I say that? They live in Carolina del Norte. Yeah, that's right. I would say viven. I could put ellos viven if I want. Either one of those. Ellas works the same way, and ustedes. This is the chart I really want you to take a screenshot of if you can and put it in your notes. This chart is the Mac Daddy present tense verb chart, and it will show you how to conjugate all regular verbs and some irregular verbs in the present tense. So if it's an AR verb, we follow right here, right? We go to the first person yo form, we're going to add an O. All of these are easy in the yo form because they're all O's. If it's the to form, you have two decisions. First, you have to look and see, is it an AR verb, ER verb, or IR verb, right? And then you have to choose depending on that. It's going to be AS, ES, or ES. Oh, sorry. Does anybody have any questions about that before we try a few things? That was a quick, down and dirty explanation. Hopefully, does everybody feel pretty good about it? Give me some feedback. You feel good about me moving on? Okay, great. All right, so hablar, these are the endings for hablar. Hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, habláis, hablan. The beautiful thing about this right here is, let me annotate. This is the first person, this is the second person, and this is the third person, except for usted. This is singular, right, side, and this is plural side. So if you ever see this chart, you can be like, okay, if it's singular, if I'm looking for a singular one, I'm going to choose this side. If I'm looking for a plural one, I'm going to use this side. And then first person, guess what? This is first person singular, first person plural. Oh, we, you plus another person. This is it. Hablas, you speak. You all speak if we're in Spain. Probably not going to be on a lot of things. Habla, he or she speaks, or you, formal. Hablan, they speak, or you all speak here, just like vosotros. All right, I'm going to clear these drawings. Basically, I think in this one, I tried to walk you through a lot of these verbs. Yeah, comer is going to be como, comes, come, comemos, coméis, comen in this chart. Vivo, vives, vive, vivimos, vivís, viven. All right, so here's the thing you do. Take the ending off. Don't leave it on. AR, ER, IR come off. think about your subject. Is it singular or plural? And choose the ending that corresponds with your subject. So Maria is a she. What is she doing? She's talking on the phone, right? Maria blank por teléfono. We can build a sentence. We use just what we use in English, a subject, we use a verb, and then we usually use an object. Maria blank por teléfono. What's this going to be? Maria blank por teléfono. Habla. If you guessed hablar, right? That's the verb we need. And we take the AR off and we add an A and we get habla. Or we could say está hablando por teléfono. We can say that, but it's much more common to just say Maria habla por teléfono, even though we want to say is talking on the phone. That's a very English construction. And so not as used in Spanish speaking countries, but it is. But instead of saying es, you would say está there. That's a great. Maria habla por teléfono as our sentence. Jose and Mario. If we wanted to choose Jose and Mario, what subject pronoun relates to Jose and Mario? What subject pronoun relates to these guys? There are two of them, so it can't be yo, or it can't be tú, or it can't be él, or ella, or usted. It has to be on the plural side, so it's probably going to be nosotros, or ellos, ellas, ustedes. Which one do you guys think? Jose and Mario. They're two people. That's right. I put it up on the screen already. Hopefully you saw it, but it's ellos, right? What are they doing? Not nosotros. That would be we. That Riley, if that would be if it were saying Jose and I, that would be we. What are they doing? ¿Qué hacen Jose y Mario? That is good. I like the way you said it though, because then it helps us think through the process. What are they doing? Comiendo, right? They're eating. So we want to use that verb comer, right? Jose y Mario blank el helado. And so we choose the verb comer, right? First, what do we do? What do we do to make our thing? What do we take off? What two letters do we take off? Yeah, ER, great. So we have COM, and we know that we want to say they do it. So can you look at your chart, and what two letters would you choose? Yeah, an E and an N, right? And so we put that together, we have comen. We write our sentence, Jose y Mario comen el helado. You and I, this is what Riley was saying earlier. When we say somebody else and ourselves, that's when we use nosotros. Tú y yo equals nosotros. So what are we doing? We are living in Carolina del Norte. And so we say vivir. We take off the IR. We have vivimos. And then we put our sentence together. Nosotros vivimos en Carolina del Norte. Great job. Everybody feel pretty good? Okay, these are materias that we're going to be learning about. We say la clase de inglés. La clase de, thank you, Kaylin. La clase de ciencias. La clase de historia. La clase de coro. We put la clase, we put de, and then we put this name. We obviously don't say lunch class because that's the last one. We just say LO or so. But la clase de español, la clase de arte, la clase de coro, la clase de banda. All right, tener is the verb that does not follow the pattern, but you can probably still see the pattern a little bit, right? Tengo ends in an O, but there's a G in there. That's a weird thing, right? Tienes, there's an IE here instead of just an E. It's not a regular verb, not just the end of it changes, and it changes to something similar, but a little bit different, right? Tiene, tenemos, and tienen. Those work a little bit similarly, but this is an irregular verb that you're going to see a lot. To have, I have, you have, he has, she has, we have, they have, you have, all the things. A lot of people have and things. So, tengo la clase de inglés a las 8. I have English class at 8. It's my first class. These are some great example sentences. You might want to take a screenshot to kind of help you with your writing when you talk about your classes. I'm sorry I don't have more time. We have about 12 minutes left. This has gone so fast. And I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Or maybe you're napping, but hopefully you're getting something out of it. Numbers 1 to 10, primero, and don't get any ideas. Don't take a nap if you weren't already taking a nap. All right. Primero or primera segundo, segunda, tercero, tercera, cuarto, quinto, sexto, séptimo, octavo, noveno, décimo. In Spanish and in English, we have these numbers: first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. I think I need to give a little bit of more instruction here, because one thing that you're going to encounter if you do those grammar quizzes is you are going to, let me see if I can annotate this. My thing is not working. Sorry. I want to annotate. I want to draw. Okay, here we go. So right here, when it's a masculine singular noun for primero and tercero, instead of saying primero and tercero, if you're saying it before a masculine noun, you're going to basically put like él es el primer hijo, and es el tercer libro. So can you guys see those sentences on your screen? He is the first son. If you're putting it right before the noun to describe it, and it's masculine and it's singular, instead of saying primero, you're going to say primer. Instead of saying tercero, you're going to say tercer. But if you're just saying like it's the third one, es el tercero. It's totally fine to say tercero then, or es el primero. Did you guys know that when you say it's your birthday is the first of the month, you'd say es el primero de enero, rather than it's the uno de enero. You say es el primero de. So if it's before a masculine singular noun, you cut the O off. If it's just by itself, you keep the O, just for those two. Does that make sense? Everybody feeling good about those? Sorry, I can't stick around much on that one, but good things to know for the future. Okay, clear these drawings, April. Okay, another verb, estar, is a great verb, and I actually helped Sine with that one earlier, because we talked about, instead of saying, when you're saying I am doing something, you say estoy, like estoy comiendo, I am eating, or estamos comiendo, we are eating. Estar means it's describing feelings and locations, usually. In that case, we're describing what's happening at the moment, and that's something you'll learn later. But I always use the phrase for how you feel and where you are. Always use the verb estar. I can't type because my chat's open. Always use the verb estar. For how you feel and where you are, always use the verb estar. So if you're talking about feelings and you're talking about locations and you want to say the word are, you're going to talk about this, or you're going to use this verb. So if we talk about where things are prepositionally, means like in front of, behind, on top of, or at least these prepositions. Delante de, detrás de, encima de, debajo de, al lado de, a la izquierda de, a la derecha de, enfrente de. These are the ones that you're learning in this chapter. And so let's go over a few of those. El lápiz está delante del vaso. So here, the pencil is located, that's why we use está and not es. Está delante, in front of the vaso. El lápiz está detrás del vaso. I'm sorry, I made this like 10 years ago, so basically this photoshopping is really horrible. But el lápiz está detrás del vaso. So the pencil is behind the vaso. El lápiz está encima del vaso. So the pencil is on top of this. Notice, instead of just saying de and el, we say del here. Del is a contraction. There are two contractions in Spanish, a plus el, and that equals al, and de plus el, and that equals del. So if you have a de and el, you're going to make those sandwiched together to make del. If you have a and el, that's going to make al. Debajo del vaso, the pencil is under. Al lado de, it's beside. Lado means your side, and so we have a lado, and it's beside. El vaso está enfrente de, it's facing or in front of. A la derecha de, it's to the right of. Great job. Enfrente de, yeah. And a la derecha, to the right of. A la izquierda, to the left of. The one that makes an L, right? Izquierda, there. Okay, this has been a super fast, awesomely crazy RLC where we learned a lot of things, but we got through all of them and we still have 7 minutes to spare, which is pretty awesome. So we talked about cosas en la clase, materias, números 32 hasta 100, la hora, números ordinales, tener, hay, los artículos definidos e indefinidos, los verbos regulares, preposiciones de lugar y el verbo estar. I don't think I actually talked about the word I, but I'm going to show you a few things on this that will help you. The verb form I is just a really easy one, but it is a really good one to know. I means there is and there are. It's one word with 2 meanings. So if I say hay muchos libros en la biblioteca, there are many books in the library. Hay un libro encima de la mesa. There is a book on the table. And that uses that word we just learned, encima de. Hay 2 baños en mi casa. There are 2 baños in my house. Hay 4 océanos en el mundo. There are 4 oceans. We can also use it as a question. Hay un hotel en el centro. Is there a hotel downtown? Hay muchos estudiantes en la clase. Are there a lot of students? And it can be used to answer questions. Sí, sí hay. Yes, there is, or no, there isn't. No, no hay. Yes, there are. We can also use it for that. So if you're making, they have these great verb flashcards you can make for yourself. But you can take this basic quiz to learn more about the verb form I. I'm going to put this in your chat so you can feel free to take that one. This unit 1 also has a great review of subject pronouns. And so it teaches you about the subject pronouns if you haven't known them. You can take the basic quiz for free. Some of these you have to pay for, but the great thing is the basic quiz is always free and it's pretty much what you need. Regular verbs here, what we just went over tonight. If you'd like a good practice, you can go to the basic quiz. It'll ask you, hey, is this an ER verb, AR verb? This is an IR verb. Choose the correct translation. Would this mean I drink or you drink? What do you guys think? I drink or you drink? Yep, I drink. You learned something tonight. Great. Nosotros tomamos. That one is ends in amos. So that's going to be the we drink, right? And you can go through this and practice. And I just really love this site, mostly because it's free and you don't have to pay for it. But it has some really great instruction. And it also has those quizzes that will help you. And then you're going to be learning more and more about adjectives. You can do the numbers 11 to 30 in Unit 2. Even more stuff, learning about ser and estar, learning about those things all the way up through, basically, I think in Spanish 1, we're going to go through Unit 4. So as you keep learning, there's telling time, maybe even, yeah, here we have all these awesome, fun things. All right. So just some good resources for you. I also wanted to show you before you leave wordreference.com. It is one of my favorite dictionaries. You know, we try to not use translators here in this class. So this is a great place to look up words. Like if we wanted to look up that word, this is one of my favorite ones, snore. Snore is a verb, right? So if we wanted to conjugate snore, this is the verb in English and this is the verb in Spanish. Roncar is the verb. We can either click right here to conjugate it and it'll take us to all the endings. Present tense, look here, yo, ronco, roncas, ronca, roncamos, roncais, roncan. We snore would be roncamos. This present tense right here is where we're going to stick around here. But if we wanted to look up that word we looked up earlier, or that we were talking about earlier, comer, and we couldn't remember exactly how to conjugate it or change it, we have como, comes, come, comemos, comes, comen. And it shows us all of the endings right here. And later on in Spanish 2, you can come back and it's going to teach you these past tenses. These are the 2 past tenses in Spanish. So present tense, this is where we're hanging out this year in this column right here. And you can look up any verb that you know in Spanish and you can look up what it means in word reference if you want to find it and click on that little arrow. Okay, so it's 8:58. I'm sorry I took us all the way to the end, but I'm going to stop sharing and I'll just be here available for you guys. If you have any questions, if you don't and you just want to get off here and enjoy your Sunday night, I totally get that. Enjoy your Labor Day tomorrow. And I really appreciate you hanging out with me. If you guys have any questions or need anything, I'm here for you. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out. Buenas noches. guys are awesome. Adios. Oh, submit the notes. Great question. So when you are in the class, I'll share my screen again. When you are in our course, I'll just go to any course. So you are going to go to modules. And then you're going to go down to unit 2. And you can close these. I don't know if you guys know, but if you're done with unit 1, you can close this by clicking on this little guy right here when it loads. And then you can open up just unit 2 so that you don't have to scroll so much. I just usually, when I'm done with these, so I don't have to scroll a million times, I just close that. This is required live class right here. So when you click on required live class, it'll take you here. I'll go to student view so you can see what it looks like. Oh, of course it won't let me because I haven't viewed those other things. Essentially, you'll click on that, you'll upload your notes, and you can type in anything there too as well. I can't remember if it actually lets you type in. Let me see. This is, don't turn it in at the unit 1 one, but this is what it looks like if we click start assignment. Okay, so you have to upload files. So you can do 2 files. You could do like a docs file, or you could do like a file that has your docs in it if you want, or you could do a Microsoft, whatever thing you use. So great question. If you don't have my class, it's okay. You can put it, you'll put it in your class. No worries. Great question. Anybody else have a class? Or have a question? Everybody has a class or you wouldn't be here, right? Thank you guys for hanging out with me. You guys are awesome. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Sine, it was really nice to meet you. Thanks, Christopher and Riley, for being in my class and putting up with my crazy. Bye, guys. Bye, Christopher. Have a great night. Nope, never take off points. No worries. You just turn it in. It will put in a 0, but that's just so you can know where you stand. But as soon as you turn it in, it'll be whatever grade you get. So don't worry. You're awesome. Congratulations on football. Fútbol americano or fútbol? Nice. Awesome. All right. Well, I'll pray you stay safe and I'll talk to you soon. Okay. Bye.